So welcome, folks. Welcome to this presentation on time massage, on unlocking some secrets about time massage, as well as taking a deep dive into our upcoming retreat to Costa Rica, happening next March 3rd to the 8th, 2026. My name, for those of you who are just meeting me, is Shai Plonski. A lot of people call me Shy Thai or Shy Time Massage because I not only love Thai massage, I've been giving and writing about it and teaching it for 23 years. It's absolutely one of my great passions in life. And today, the intention behind today's meeting is to present some new protocols and some new ways of giving the massage for different issues. And I'm going to focus on back pain and also on shoulder and neck pain and issues that I really haven't discussed before and shared before in any of my classes, but they are very much protocols and methods that I've been practicing, refining, and developing a lot over the last few years. As I mentioned, I've been teaching this for and giving this for 23 years, and my own practice has evolved. So, you know, when I teach classes, and I'm teaching, level one and level two classes, for example, I want to always build a foundation, a really strong foundation of the practice. Like for example, by the time you're done those two levels in foundations and time massage, you know how to give about 2.5 hours of massage techniques and all these different ways to customize it. And we have conversations about how to customize the massage. And I'm very much in favor of, I always have an intention that is not that I want you to give a massage necessarily exactly the way that I show it to you. My teacher once upon a time, he called that like assembly line massages. Like, you think of like a Ford assembly line or something where everyone's got to do it exactly this way. When you first begin giving the massage, I actually think there's something very useful to that, to be able to follow a method that is comfortable, that feels really good, that provides really great results. But it's always with a bigger picture that says, like, how can I free myself from that so that I'm responsive? In fact, we know that the first pillar of time massage is mindfulness, it's meditation, it's loving kindness, it's compassion. It's essentially cultivating our relationship with the present moment. So we want to be present, we want to be responsive to the needs of our clients. And every client is different, and there are so many diverse needs that we may run into when we're giving a massage that we don't want a one size fits all approach. Far from it. We want to be nimble in what we do, and we want to be able to adjust what we do to the needs of our clients. And so right away, by the end of that second level, I'm always encouraging my students to develop that and to nurture your own style and to put things together in a way, with 2.5 hours of massage techniques, for example, in those Thai massage on the mat classes, you have an endless way that you can put things together, that you can really treat so many different issues for so many different clients and so many different needs. And while that's certainly true, at the same time, personally, as I've continued to develop my own practice and learn from different teachers and then learn from my clients, and in a lot of ways, my clients really are my number one teachers. I've learned some things, some new tricks, and some new ways of putting together the massage that work incredibly, incredibly well and have been very effective, and have my clients, having amazing results, that also have them become long-term clients and pay really top dollar to receive sessions from me. And I get invited to not only uh, teach all over the world, but also give massages all over the world as well. And in our upcoming retreat in Costa Rica, we have the time for me to really dive deep and share all of this with you. But today, what I wanted to do is share that there are things that I can share here in an online meeting about how I'm putting things together and maybe even explain a little bit why I put it together the way it does to give you an understanding of that and a taste of that, and then understand, from there where we're going to go in Costa Rica and different things that we're going to do. And so we'll talk about that, and then we'll also get into what the whole retreat is about, because it is about Thai massage, but it's also a whole lot more than that. So I've got a presentation. I'm going to share my screen, and here we go. Sorry, let me just get things going in a slideshow. Cool. So here we are, unlocking the powers of Thai massage in Nosara, Costa Rica. As I mentioned, that's when we're going to Costa Rica, and we'll get into it a little bit later in the presentation. For those of you who are just meeting me for the first time, as I mentioned, my name is Shai Plonski, and Shai Thai Massage is what a lot of people call me. And the Thai massage school that I began in 2011 is called Still Light Center. I am the author of 17 books. I've been teaching and giving Thai massage, and I say over 2 decades. It's going to be 24 years this November that I began my Thai massage career. I've trained over 12,000 students, and even that number needs to be revised upwards, probably closer to 14,000 at this point. Of the 17 books that I've written or contributed to, I've published or had 4 of them published on Amazon, and they were all bestsellers. I've also got one of the most popular Thai massage YouTube channels in the world. It has about 2 million views. I was just taking a look at that, and almost 100,000 watch hours. And it's because I'm absolutely passionate about sharing the mutually beneficial healing powers of Thai massage and teaching it in a way that is incredibly beneficial for you when you're the giver, as well as for the receiver. Just a little bit more about my background. These are 3 of the books. I should get couples time massage on there. I'll have to add that next time I do a presentation like this, because that's the 4th book that I published. That's on Amazon. Those are a few write-ups of different courses that I've taught at the Kripalu Center, at the Omega Institute, and those are some of the my favorite yoga retreat centers. I've also taught at different spas around the world, in New York City, in Puerto Rico, and yeah, different places like that, and also really different yoga festivals as well. And while most of you know me as a teacher, what's also true, as I alluded to, is that I'm certainly also a therapist and a practitioner of Thai massage. And I wanted to share just a few different testimonials and a few different pieces of feedback that some of my students and sorry, not students, but some of my um, clients have shared with me over the years. And what's also true is, for me, one of the reasons that I absolutely am so dedicated to teaching is because I very much love giving it. And from giving the massage, I have learned how to evolve my practice. And that giving is so essential to the whole experience of really evolving as a teacher and being able, as I've talked about on this retreat that is coming up, being able to really take people to a place that I've never taken people before. And truly, I don't think anyone has ever taught Thai massage in any way, the way that I'll be sharing it next year in Costa Rica, because, of course, every teacher has their own style and brings their own flavor to it. And for me, the techniques of Thai massage that I learned are certainly one aspect, but I learned, and my practice has evolved really from these teachers, from my clients that you're seeing here, that from listening and really just really going deep into the listening and being together with my clients and getting a sense of what their needs are and what their body is telling me that it needs to do, I always lean into being flexible, into trying new things, into trying things in the moment that I maybe have never tried before, because I get the sense that their body's asking for it, and I get the sense that I can try this thing that comes into my mind in a way that really honors my body and will feel really good for me. And that's a testimony to what are the four pillars of Thai massage that are at the core of everything that I teach. When I teach Thai massage, these four pillars being mindfulness, meditation, compassion. We talked a little bit about that already as the first pillar, being present. And the second are the stances that we use, which are the ways that we position our body so that everything comes from our core. And the third pillar being the rocking motion. So again, we amplify how our core is engaged with everything that we do. And those three pillars bring us great awareness of how to use our own body in a way that honors it, that always just gets better and better and better as we go. So that finally, with the fourth pillar, we have touch, and sharing that compassionate touch, starting from this one sentence, which I call the secret to giving a great massage, which is how slow can you go and how high can you fly, and all about easing in to everything that we do to work with the intelligence of their body while listening and really developing that relationship that I just talked about, that brings about that inspiration and these ideas to evolve yourself, to evolve new techniques, and to do it in a way that's just highly effective. So I turned 50 this year, so it's for me it's a bit of a milestone birthday, in part because when I think about where my body was at 26 when I started this, and now being a 50-year-old, I can honestly and gratefully say that I feel better now than I ever did then. And I owe so much of that to Thai massage and everything that it's taught me about how to listen to my body, how to use my body in a way that really does honor myself, and to be willing to be flexible in my approach. The ways that I give the massage now at 50 have certainly evolved from how it was when I was 26. When I was 26, I felt indestructible. When I first learned Thai massage, I thought, okay, I can use my elbows to massage, I can use my knees to massage, so I can do anything that I want as long as I use those parts of my body, and it's going to be great for them and it's going to be great for me. And then at a certain point, I developed actually some tendonitis in my forearms early on, maybe 2 years into my practice when I was 28 or so. And that was such a great aha and a learning lesson that no, truly, it's not only about taking what's given to me and taught to me and doing it and trusting it completely. You really got to keep developing your own relationship with the present moment, with listening to yourself and your body and sharing from that place and being willing to evolve. And it was such a gift, actually. What I ended up realizing, I was already teaching when I injured myself, and I very much took that to heart and said, okay, how do I take this experience and prevent that from happening to my students to the best of my ability as well? And I never forgot that. And therefore, already how I teach in my workshops, in the classes that I mentioned, for example, foundations in massage, they already incorporate some of these fundamental differences from how I first learned it and where I'm at now, as you know, now I'm 50, about how to do things in a way that just feel better and better and better. And the more I've learned what that's all about, the more I've tried to incorporate that in the massage. But as we come together in Costa Rica and we have, almost like a clean slate to share together, I'll be able to take that to a whole other level. And if I have some time today, I'll talk a little bit more about specifically what that's going to look like. Um, any questions so far? Let me just check the chat here. All right, if no one has any questions right now, you can always hit me up after the record or after the meeting at any time, or there'll be other times during the meeting to ask questions. But if you're watching a recording of this meeting, you can absolutely send me your questions either by email if you're getting this as a from my newsletter, and a link to the recording that way. I'll be sharing this on YouTube, so you can also post your comments down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. So yes, as I'm saying, and what I wanted to share by sharing some of these feedbacks from some of the students is I adore giving the massage, and I learned so much from giving the massage as well. I'm so grateful that I can create experiences for people that bring about these kinds of responses. Like on the very left there, that person says that I'll literally never forget the massage is the best massage I've ever received in my entire life. And that's not the only person on here who has said that. There's feedback about people's backs and people's shoulders and their bodies and how it's helped them, or just generally appreciating the presence that they feel. I'm looking at one at the bottom left corner, like still feeling fabulous. So appreciate your healing hands. Haven't felt this good in 18 months since she had a fall, for example, and wanted me to come and massage her in LA. So anyways, it's just very true that I have this huge passion for giving the massage, and it's as true for giving as it is for teaching it. And it's fueled what I want to talk about today. On the whole, if you're brand new to Thai massage, one thing I will say is that, as I've kind of alluding to with some of the foundational pillars of the massage and being present and cultivating that in yourself and sharing it, that and even reading some of those testimonials, you can see that this it's a profound practice that bridges the physical, psychological, and spiritual realms. And you can take it into those aspects as much as you want. If you're really someone who's purely focused on the physical, for example, and all the different physical ways, either your clients benefit from it, your partners benefit from it, and you benefit from it, great. Then just focus on that. But if you're also someone who looks at healing and your clients and yourself from these different aspects and want to really feel those benefits, then they're also very much there for you. And the massage, in a nutshell, absolutely combines like the best of assisted stretching, of yoga, of energy work, and massage techniques really all blended in together. And there are times in the massage, and in a way, this is really what we're getting into today, where it makes more sense to focus, for example, maybe on the massage side of Thai massage. Other times where it might make sense to focus on the stretching or the yoga side of the massage, and other times where it might make sense to focus on the energy side or really even putting it all together. So the system that I keep refining, um, you know, working with my clients, it it's that's where we're going when I talk about, what we're talking about today is creating maybe new protocols and new ways of thinking about how to give the massage that um, brings that to light for really amazing results. And I want to talk about back pain and shoulder pain today. They're also going to be two of the main focuses in our retreat in Costa Rica to explain how my how my protocols have evolved. And it's not that, I do want to preface this even before I get into it to say, like, there's no doubt that what is always true for me is being present means listening to the needs of my clients. And what I present here is not necessarily what I do every single time that I'm massaging someone with back pain. But at the same time, what I will say is that this general approach and this way of evolving how I give the massage for people with back pain, it works a lot. It works with most of my clients, and that's true whether they are, very tight and more in an acute phase, as well as farther along and they're more trying to manage their pain or trying to prevent pain from happening because they've had pain in the past, or they just know that back issues is something that they have dealt with and they're trying to prevent that, and everything kind of in between, and even for different ages. I will say though that, like I have clients who are in their 80s and 90s. I don't know that I would say that this would be necessarily the protocol that I would be working with someone with back pain at that age. I am thinking of people with, they've got pain and they've got, a decent amount of mobility. And in fact, I'm just writing a book on massaging elders. and I'm gonna, release that at some point in probably in the next year or so. And that's all about the softer approach to massage. And that's a whole other conversation. And it's not to say again that elders can't receive all of these. It really just is about meeting people where they are and adjusting as needed. But at the same time, yeah, let's just focus on what I've got going on here and talk about this protocol for a back pain massage. So, so the first thing I would say is that when I have a client who tells me that they've got back issues, and that's the primary area that I want to focus on, that's where I start the massage. I start with them lying face down, and I use the first few minutes of the massage to loosen that area up by having them in that passive position, lying face down and massaging their back. And I'm doing that for a few reasons. On the one hand, it will help me to get to know their body. On the other hand, it will already start to get into all of the key areas that they're having issues and help them to feel a little bit of relief and to feel like I'm really paying attention to their needs, and they'll start to already feel good. So, may sound obvious, but at the same time, in Thai massage, especially depending on who's watching this in different schools of thought, and including my own. Like if you've learned foundations one and two, and I said, we customize the massage, but the massage that I teach does start seated and then has your client in a supine position, so face up, and then face down, and then coming back to face up later. And it's not that, when you go through the program, I do mention many times that it's like different pieces of a puzzle and you can put them together however you want. And this is putting it together in a different way. In a lot of schools in Thailand, massages start with your clients also in a supine position, face up, and start with the feet and then move up the body that way. And people learn it like that, and they really stick to that because it's what's been given to them. So this is, in a way, giving people permission to try to put the massage together in a very different way. Because in Thai massage, truth be told, a lot of people don't generally start the massage lying face down and starting with a back massage for different reasons. So as I mentioned, when I give this massage, after the back massage, I'll then keep my clients in that face down position and head down to the lower part of the body. So feet, calves, legs, glutes. And I'm not going to get into a teaching class of all the different techniques that are listed here, like soul roll or soul walk and calf massage, etc. This is really where we need to be, it's not the scope of today's meeting. It's really about creating the blueprint and creating, the protocols for how to do it. And then if you have some of these techniques already in your back pocket, you don't need to know all of them. It's really doing the techniques that you know about that can target those areas of the body. But my thinking around why I do this is because, we talked about the energy side of the massage and also on the physical side, the way that muscles simply attach in the body, our lower back and our back, we have muscles that attach from there into our glutes, into our hamstrings, and then from there even into the legs and into the feet. So I think it's very important to realize that a complete massage for back issues and back pain has to focus quite a bit on the legs and the feet as well. So that's why after that nice warm up for the back, I'm going to come down to the lower body with them facing down and use a variety of massage. And I'm still more focused on massage than stretching at this point because I want to keep bringing about release of tension, knots, and provide some nice deep relaxation for the body at this point in the massage. And then once I finish that, then I move to their upper back again. And a lot of the techniques that I gave at the start of the massage, I'm going to repeat it. And I want to also, I'm doing it for many reasons. I just believe that when you come back and do something a second time and you give their body a chance to rest, then you can go deeper and you can provide really good relief, and you can do it in a way that doesn't tire out those muscles because those muscles have had a chance to heal already So the tension and tightness in those areas of the body really can have a much better and a much more organic way to release naturally in the body. So I'm going to do a second massage to target the back and the back of the shoulders, for example, and those key areas that are causing them a lot of pain and distress. And one of the things that I'll be teaching in Costa Rica, along with, some of these various techniques and really ways of giving the back massage so that you don't have to strain at all. In fact, a lot of the ways that I give a back massage, I'm literally sitting right next to my partner. Even if I'm doing this on a mat, I can just sit right next to them and use rocking and use body mechanics where I can just kind of, rest like this and just kind of lean into some places and feel around. And then we're getting into what we will get into is really specific strands of muscles and key areas where, I've taught in other classes this idea of bands and how muscles work in relationship, like a tricep and a bicep, for example, or with bands, how you have like a band that moves from one arm up across the shoulder and down the other side. And when you want to release tension in this area in the easing in motion, the secret of giving the massage. We want to work one side and then maybe the other side, and then maybe optionally working across the band and doing things in two sides. So there are different bands on the back that I've more recently discovered that are more subtle than that, that where we engage two sides of the back and the back and the hips, for example, and different things like that. And I will teach you how to get into those, strands of muscles and into those areas of the body that, again, provide really unique, wonderful, world-class kind of relief. So after we do a whole massage for the back, then I'll bring my client onto their back so that we can focus in again some more on their legs. And here's where we're going to get a little more um, into the stretching side and into the yoga side. So that the theory is and the approach is that now that their back has released and we've gotten rid of a lot of knots and tension in their body, that is when they're so primed for stretching and movement to more deeply integrate, to further along the feelings of release as well, and to provide really long-term solutions for their bodies. So we're using the stretching component of the massage very intelligently that way. They're warmed up, they're more receptive to receiving that, and they're going to feel really wonderfully and right away just how beneficial everything you've already done starts to really change their body in real time. And that is so important because you're literally doing that. Not only are they feeling it, there will be aspects they may not feel, but their body, with its 30 or more trillion cells and their connective tissues and their fascia and everything that kind of locks us into positions to protect ourselves from getting injured, able to feel more range of motion, more flexibility, and more mobility in the body. It's like essentially that gives the body permission to realign, to shift, to let go. And I am all about working with the intelligence of the body. So bringing really great stretches in that help for that experience to be experienced in real time is what we're doing here. And we are also, again, I talked about some of those bands that we explore on the lower back. Well, we can also find new ways to access the bands in highly effective ways on the legs that I've also never taught before, that I'm so excited to teach because it really, really works. It works to give the body permission to relax and let go and reset and find a more neutral alignment that allows for for healing, that allows for resetting, and that allows for a whole feeling of like, wow, I feel 2 inches taller. I feel like I'm able to stretch and move my body in ways that I haven't in years. Like you saw some of the comments before, like, wow, I am able to bend down and tie my shoes when I wasn't able to do that without being scared that I'm going to feel some kind of pain. Those pains, those aches, those issues, so much of it has to do with the body being stuck in a holding pattern, that it's the body is doing that to protect itself, because the alternative may be even worse. But when, as I said, when we do things that give the body permission to release and to return to that more neutral state is actually incredibly positive and beneficial. And just that's where you find so much deep release and joy and just feeling so much better in the body. So all those stretches that will bring into the legs and ways of accessing those bands and muscles and specific tissues along the legs are going to help to do that. And in part, it is because I said that a lot of those muscles on the legs, it's a chain and it goes right into those key areas of the back. So not only are you stretching and doing things for the legs, it's a chain reaction, and you're also accessing those areas on the back. And then to finish it off, there's also a seated massage that I would encourage, and doing at least 2 moves to help, again, further open up and stretch the back, the rowboat and the prayer pose. And then at some point, it's really nice to come back to that passive state, that blissful state, and providing a really nice neck and head massage. And so that is a global view of this way of massaging for back pain. Um, so there you have it. And I'm wondering what you think, and if you have any questions. As I said, I'm giving the blueprint, the 300, or the 300-foot view, or maybe the 3,000-foot view from up above, to have this strategy and this approach for how you can really give an effective massage. And then if you are watching this and you have Thai massage experience, you can take the techniques that you learn and put it into the order of the way that I'm talking about. And if you're curious, and this is really getting your curiosity going about, well, then, okay, I love this and I want to take this to the next level, and I want to learn all the little minutia and all the details that you're hinting about, well, then that's great. That's what learning in person and coming to Costa Rica is going to be all about, where we'll be able to get into that in great detail. So even techniques that you may have learned some of the techniques that we're going to do in Costa Rica, but you will not have learned them the way that you're going to learn them there, and to apply them and use them in the ways. And then we'll give you all these new techniques that you can use as well, and really just deeper attention to so many different parts of the body that you may not have noticed before, to provide this really high level of massage, of release, of an experience for your clients. Do you have any questions? All right, I'm going to continue. And for a few more minutes, I want to talk similarly about shoulder and neck pain, because that'll be the other key focus that we'll get into, and that also I know so many of us face when we give massages now. And again, a different way to rethink how you massage the neck and the shoulders. So, and this may be even especially relevant for those of you who have learned from a different school, who learned to massage from the feet and work your way up. But here's a time when someone comes to me, the truth is, when someone comes to me and tells me that they have a lot of neck and shoulder pain, I definitely want to listen to that, where it's coming from and what other issues they may have. Because what I'm about to say is, uh, I usually have to make a choice about how to start the massage. And of course, I've got a protocol listed here, but the fact of the matter is, depending on what they tell me, I may start and do the massage this way, or I may switch it up a bit. Because as I mentioned with the back massage, I want to start my massage on key areas, right in those key areas. But because of shoulder and neck pain, the question is, are they best going to be served with them starting face down the way I just did, where I can get into their back of their neck and their shoulders? Or might it be more beneficial to start with a seated massage where they're sitting, or in a supine massage with them lying face up? And and there are different reasons why you may start one versus the other versus the other. Um, but if someone can start seated, then I would recommend, and they have a decent amount of mobility, even though they're dealing with a lot of pain and issues in their shoulders. What I would say is that kind of client is where I'm starting seated. If I have someone who certainly can't sit, it's an easy decision that I'm not going to start them seated if they have a lot of pain. Or I may start them seated on a chair and then bring them either to my table or my mat, depending on how I'm massaging them. And if I have someone, though, who's got a lot less range of motion, where too much movement in the body and stretching, as I said for the back massage discussion, I'm saving too much, the stretches and stuff to a point in the massage where there can be more integration, where there's a lot of relaxation that's happened first. And my methodology is pretty similar here. It's just a question of meeting people where they're at. So if I'm working with someone who's definitely got less range of motion, I would say that I'm actually going to start them supine, lying face up, where I can massage their neck and their shoulders. Or if I can start them seated, I'm going to start them seated, but maybe all I'm going to do is the rolling pin. So the rolling pin is like a forearm massage to massage this area of the neck and the shoulder so that I can get deeply into it. So it's really, again, focusing first on the massage and massage techniques to provide some pain release, some relaxation, some already starting to just really get into a place of feeling good in their body and feeling like this person really knows what they're doing because I already feel good and I feel better and I've been dealing with all this pain. So, that's where you're going to make an informed choice based on that first pillar of being present about what works best for you. If you are working with someone who has enough range of motion that you think that this is going to be a good protocol, though, what I would say is after I'm done with that rolling pin, and maybe even doing it on both sides before I move on to this list of techniques here. So, this list of techniques are a combination, a collection of stretches and movements that help to move the body, so like some twists for example and some circles and movements of the body that get this area moving and stretched and opened up. Now, I mentioned these are all like different pieces of a puzzle, so it may make sense in some cases to save that piece for later, like maybe towards the end of the massage. Or if, as we mentioned, if you have someone who is in a state where sitting and too much movement just isn't going to work, you can always take it out. And also, you can, if there are techniques that you know about how to stretch the shoulders and the arms, and I know we were talking off camera at the start about like the table time massage course that I have, and there's a whole piece there for shoulder movements and mobilizations with your partner lying face down. So it really may make sense to put this more active movement part more towards the end of the massage. So you make these informed choices, but the fundamental um, protocol that I'm sharing with you is do some things to relax the shoulders. If you can start to mobilize and move their shoulders at that point in their body, then incorporate it after the rolling pin, or maybe you leave that out or leave it for later. Bring them into lying down into a supine position, and then we massage the neck and the shoulders, the arms and the hands really in depth. So that means taking your sweet time. And that is one of the best things I would say about dealing with neck and shoulder issues. I really think that the image of we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders is a very accurate thing. And that our neck area and the shoulder area is holding up our head, and proportionally, the weight of our head is greater than really any other area of the body. So that's just from a physical point of view. And then if you're dealing with stress in your life, then we tend to hold it here. What's more is if you're dealing with issues in other parts of your body, your neck also absorbs and takes some of that on. And we talked about fascia and the connective tissue of the body. So anywhere in your body that can take on some of the pain and issues from somewhere else in your body does that when you're tense, when you're dealing with pain, when you're got issues going on. And that's also very true of your neck. So to release tension here, like I said, is very much about taking your sweet time and not only thinking of your neck as this area, although I know it is, anatomically speaking, but the truth is, in my opinion, the way our bodies really work as in a unit, like systematically, is like if we're taking on tension here, then your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your face, your head, all of it is on overdrive. And so whatever techniques you already know to massage those areas, just slow it way down and give those areas a really extended massage. And of course, in Costa Rica, I'm going to show you how to do that even more in depth, to get into specific strands in the neck, to get into specific areas of the arm, the rotator cuff, the triceps, the biceps, the forearms, etc., so that you can give this most in-depth, specific, luxurious massage for those areas. And again, instantly it provides so much relief and so much range of motion back to the body, back to the neck, back to the head. And that is also, I can't even begin to tell you how many people I massage. When you start to provide that for people in those areas, they tell you, wow, you're pressing here and I feel it like all the way down in my feet, for example. I feel it all the way down in my legs, or in my, if you're here on the neck, I feel it all the way up here in the head. So it's just amazing how it all works, how it's all really one body, and how you can create these kind of results. So fundamentally, when you're creating your shoulder and neck pain massage, that's really your primary objective, is to spend all that long amount of time massaging those areas. And then the movement, similarly, like I said, for the back, is being used to integrate some of the benefits as well. So there are times when you can put the more dynamic parts after an initial massage, like in the rolling pin, and there'll be times where it makes sense to put it later in the massage. So you can literally incorporate seated massage at the end, or maybe even after you lay. I mean, I don't do it very often this way, but I have them laying down here and then have them sit back up and do it. What I would most likely do is turn them onto their back to get into areas of their upper back, their neck again, and their head. And I wrote in between to incorporate some leg massage. I mean, it's always good to think of the body holistically and to get into those areas. And chances are, we already talked about it a little bit, that some of the issues that are causing tension up here in the neck and head are as a result of things that are going on in the lower part of the body as well. So it's going to benefit everything. But what it also does is that it gives this area a rest. And those rest times are really strategically important and a wonderful thing to do to allow for healing and for the benefits to happen, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And to, when you decide to come back and massage those areas, to do it'll be received in a way that again stays in that beneficial space and not in the he overdid it kind of way as well. So coming down to do some leg work has all of those benefits of the body, and then turning them onto their front so that you can massage again their back, their upper back, the back of their shoulders, their neck, and their head, and what you can reach there. I talked about mobilizations. You can, as I said, bring some stretches into the body when they're lying face down for the neck and shoulders. Or at that point, you can sit them back up and then bring your stretches in there and then lie them back face up for a nice head, neck, shoulder massage to finish up. So that's it. That's this protocol, and that's what I want to get you thinking about, to give really next level massages both for the back and for the shoulders. And I hope what I shared with you here really gives you some new insights and some new ways to think about giving the massage. And then what I want to get into now is for those of you who are really motivated to learn with me about not only how to give some of the techniques that you see written here that you may not have learned, but also much more in-depth massage techniques that are also ways done in a way that really truly saves your body, that still always works with that first intelligent approach of how do we make something that feels so good for us that is also good for them. um, that's what Costa Rica is really going to be all about. And I'm cultivating that in a way that is going to be beneficial for you no matter what your level of expertise is. If you have more expertise, well, I'll get more detailed with you. If you have less expertise, you're still going to learn the techniques and you're going to learn how to do them very well. And I'll meet you at your place at your level experience, and then you'll have that, and then you'll go home and you'll practice that, and then maybe we'll also continue to work together that way. But everything is very accessible no matter your level of expertise. I've been teaching people in that way who have no experience and who have 20 years of experience or more, who come into the class, and wherever you're at, I know how to meet you there and create an experience that is stimulating, that is interesting, that is going to give you something amazing that you can take without it being overwhelming. And that's just part of experience of teaching this for 23 years. And knowing what I'm going to share with you and ways to give this massage, again, we're all going to have learn all the techniques and learn all these methodologies for giving the massage at a really high level. And for those of you who have more experience, it just means you're going to have even more insight into listening and feeling the body and applying it a little bit faster. But nothing's going to be overwhelming for anyone, and nothing's going to feel like unstimulating because there's so much here that we can all learn together and just take our practices to a whole other level. And I mentioned here, like on this page, with tools. And one of the ways that I have evolved my practice is very much to be comfortable using tools such as a massage gun or a massage stick in my practice to get into these areas and to stimulate recovery and to stimulate the muscles and or massage knots and get things out of the body without forcing it. It never changes that I want to make things as easy for myself as possible. So I'm not rigid about that. It doesn't matter to me that a massage gun is not typically used in Thai massage schools. What matters to me is what's effective, what is useful for you as the giver that makes it really good for you, that is also really beneficial for the receiver. And if I can say a big yes to both of those, then I'm going to incorporate it. And so in this case, I've been testing and using tools in my practice for years already. And like I said, that's one of those things, though, while I teach some of that in some of my classes, I've got all these new ways to teach you how to use tools to get into these areas of the body that I've never taught before. So let's uh, shift gears here and just talk a little bit about Costa Rica and give you a little insight into that. We are meeting March 3rd to the 8th, 2026. This is 6 days and 5 nights together. And the idea behind this retreat is to create a total transformational experience of healing and connection that is certainly Thai massage focused. And as we've talked about today, we really got a nice overview of the blueprint of the kinds of things that we're going to get into when we learn the massage and when we grow our massage practices together. But it is at the heart of our time together, but it is not the entirety of our time together. Far from it. If we're part of the idea of meeting in Costa Rica is to give us an opportunity to transform, to heal, to grow as individuals as well. And some people are coming as couples, and so to grow in our relationship as well, and then come to the massage and let that support your goals, whatever they may be. So this is a nice little picture of the retreat. It's a small retreat center called Nosara. You can see it there in the corner, situated in the jungle, just a short walk from a private beach. And in the jungle means that you can also have jungle walks that you can explore, and it's not far from this amazing town of Nosara. So it's perfectly situated for exactly what we want to do. And I wanted this retreat to be small. So we have a 10-person maximum, and that means filling up our retreat means we have the entire use of the facilities for us. There is a large place where we can learn our Thai massage. There is an infinity pool where we can go swimming. There is loads of areas to relax. There's all this amazing food that will be provided to us, and there is incredible accommodations with that are all built with the environment in mind. That even like the art on the walls, it's all local Costa Rican kind of art, furniture, wherever it can be is sourced locally, but it's all very tasteful, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So there's a nice picture of the infinity pool. And part of how we're going to make this transformational is, is both having a structured schedule to our day with time for our own individual path and to explore that as well. So let's look at this for a little bit. Over, on the whole, what we'll do on a daily basis is there will be daily meditation and yoga in the morning. We will practice Thai massage at least once a day, generally speaking. So in the after breakfast, before lunch, we'll practice Thai massage. It's the afternoons that sometimes we'll practice Thai massage, and sometimes we'll have the option to have free time to either just relax on the premises or explore the area on your own, or to do some structured exploration. Like there's getting on, I believe it's horseback riding on the beach or stand-up paddleboarding, etc. There are some activities like that that you can do depending on what you want. Um, so here's a couple of more pictures of Nosara. You can see a nice picture of a bed, one of the rooms, and the veranda, and there's a sitting area outside each of the rooms. A little picture of the food. This picture on the right is of the sweat lodge that's there, and so that's one of the group activities, which of course any group activity is optional. But if you've ever been in a sweat lodge and or are curious about it and sweating out toxins and again, when you let go of things in a sweat lodge and will be guided with a professional, it puts you in a state of being that is really undescribable about how light you feel. It's a deep feeling of release and healing and setting intentions um, for yourself and for your life. So we will have a sweat lodge together. We will also do a sacred cacao ceremony. And so one thing that was very important to me and why I chose this retreat and chose this schedule is we're here in Costa Rica, and I think it's just such a beautiful thing to be able to do some of the native and participate in some of the native cultural activities and learn from them and learn from the people there as well. In fact, Costa Rica, one of the great things about it is it's very much known for its hospitality and for locals wanting to share their wisdom with us who are coming, and definitely in a place like Nosara, which is absolutely in one of the, blue zones of the world. And if you know anything about blue zones, these are areas of the world where it's documented that the average age of people is longer than in other areas. And this is a place that has long prioritized health and well-being. This is a little breakdown of the itinerary where we will arrive on the first day and then have a little intro to Thai massage that first night. The second day is going to be a day that's, as I mentioned, Thai massage training in the morning and in the afternoon. The third day is one of those days where once we finish our morning of Thai massage, our afternoon and evening are going to be more about exploration. So that could be going to the town of Nosara, that could be going to the beach, staying on the premises, signing up for one of the activities. That will be up to you and or your partner if you're coming with a partner. And then we'll have our sweat lodge or Temescal ceremony in the evening. Day 4 is going to be a full day of Thai massage training with the, we'll have dinner in the evening, and then there will still be free time um, in the evenings as well when we don't have structured time in the evening. The 5th day, we will finish our Thai massage training that morning, and then we'll again have another free afternoon and a cacao ceremony to complete it. And then the last day will be a day to kind of bring it all together, yoga, meditation. We'll see if there's any more time for a little bit more massage, but in all likelihood, it's going to be, I don't want to overwhelm or put too many things on that last day because it's our departure day. So it's really just to give people that last opportunity to enjoy being there and to gather up all their stuff and get ready to depart, kind of around late morning or lunchtime, something like that. So that's the general itinerary. Um, and it is very much appropriate for both individuals. And there are people who've already signed up who are coming solo, and there are also couples who are coming. And so, again, if you want to come and learn together with someone, that can be in a romantic relationship, that can be a friend, that can be a family member, that's up to you, or if you want to come on your own. One thing to be aware of is that because of the accommodations, all the accommodations that remain are double occupancy. So if you are coming on your own, you'll be partnered up with someone else and sharing a space with them. Um, the cost of this retreat is $2,450. And to reserve your spot, it's a $500 deposit. And it says here that full payments are due by December 2nd, and that is true. But if you need a little more time to complete the whole payment, then just talk to me, let me know. They're very accommodating, and we can probably work that out with you. You definitely would have to pay before the retreat in full. But if you need a little more leeway for completing the payments, then that is something that we can work out. That 2450 includes everything on site, including all of the training, including whatever tools and materials, books, or anything that I'm going to provide you, and including some of the tools that I mentioned. It includes all the food and the use of the facilities. It includes the ceremonies that we're going to do together, like the sweat lodge and the cacao ceremony. It won't include some of those additional, like on the free afternoons when you can sign up for some activities like the horseback riding on the beach. That's something optional that you would sign up for, and going to town of that, etc. The only other thing it doesn't include really are flights, such as getting there, travel insurance, and any personal spending money that you bring, and any tips that you want to leave the staff. I mentioned that all the rooms are double occupancy. So if you're coming solo, then there are luxurious, spacious rooms, but you would be sharing the room with a partner, with a buddy. It also does include group transport from Liberia Airport. So the time of that transport is going to depend on when I can get everyone to the airport. And it's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from the airport to Nosara. I mentioned, oh, the refund policy is, the $500 deposit to secure your spot. That is non-refundable. If you need to otherwise cancel between now and December 2nd, any other amount that you pay is refundable. And that's pretty much it. The link to sign up is right here, and I will post that down below as well. And I will also go out for everyone who's going to be watching this in a replay or who are watching this on um, different like social media, like on YouTube, for example. Then just look down below in the comments or in the description box, and you'll find this link there as well. You'll have a more another in-depth description of the whole retreat, and then there'll be a sign up page, and that's where you go to sign up. We already are about halfway full, and I am getting inquiries from people actually really every day these days. This is the time, I think, when people are thinking about next year already. So I am very much expecting that we will get up to 10 spots and that we'll do that within the next month. So if you want to do this for all the reasons that we've been talking about, to take your Thai massage um, level, your time, your ability to give Thai massage to this whole other level and really expand and really kind of enjoy and kind of blow your mind about what you're able to do to give the massage. And again, that's true whether you're doing this for your clients or whether you're doing this for your friends and family, whether you're doing this in relationship, whether you're doing this for your own personal growth, curiosity, and well-being. Um, it's it's going to be an opportunity of a lifetime, and I am so excited to share this with everyone who's coming. The people who are already signed up are just such high quality people, and I know that you will be as well. So I would highly suggest, if you want to get in on this, to sign up right away, to know that this is going to sell out and it's going to happen sooner than later. So please be in touch right away. If you have any questions, if you want to know any more, you want to make sure that it's the right fit for you, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to answer any of those questions and share with you. And today, my first focus was to give you a bit more of a blueprint and understanding of what we're going to do in the massage and how different it is from anything that I've taught before and how it's going to help you to give really the best massages ever. And that's what it's all about. And that's all she wrote, folks. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop this. Um, I'm going to stop my slideshow and just ask if you have any questions today. And if you don't have any questions today or you're watching the replay, then just, of course, hit me up with any questions and we'll go from there. So Dottie, are you still there?